Hello everyone, welcome back, and if you are new here, welcome too. I hope everyone is blessed by God's grace. Today I have a very beautiful recipe for you, and if you are only here for the recipe, please skip to the time below. Otherwise, let's get into today's gift of Christmas. It's the 8th of 12 days of Christmas, and on the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 mates a milking. This gift represents the 8 Beattitudes in Matthew chapter 5. These qualities give a picture of the character of the true followers of Christ. They give a description of the perfect follower of Christ, who is the heir of the promises. So the Beatitudes are found in Matthew chapter 5, verses 2 to 12. So I'm reading the New King James Version. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So these Beatitudes tell people just how righteous they must be to enter the kingdom and what righteous living should look like for Christians. Guidance as to how to achieve this righteousness is not included in this chapter, but Jesus explains it in other teachings. There are a lot to unpack in this scripture, and it will be for another day. But the only thing I will leave you here today with is that the Beatitude, what my Sunday school teacher taught me, the Beatitude only means be attitude. Be attitude. So the attitudes you have to be. Be attitudes. The attitudes you have to be. So if you're not taking anything from it, when you read this passage, know that these are the attitudes you have to be. Thank you all for listening to me today, and God bless you. So as I mentioned earlier, I have a very delicious recipe for you today. So let's do this cooking thing. So for those of you who are fed up with the same stew every Christmas, the same kind of stew every Christmas, today I have a treat for you. I have a very special recipe for you. So stay with me and you're going to love this recipe. Something else but what you'd normally have for your Christmas. Okay, so let's get into it. So for this recipe, I'm using beef, okay? So, I'm not sure of the cut of the beef, but I'm using beef with a bit of bone in it. But I don't need a bone, so I'm going to take out the bone. And this beef has been frozen a bit, so it's a honey hole. It is not 100% frozen, but it is, nicely frozen for you to be able to cut it easily, right? So I'm taking out the bone. I'm trying to remove all the meat, from the bone, and then the bone will be thrown away. I was just tempted to say that this is a T-bone, but I checked and I looked again, it was L. I'm going to try to cut this beef, right, into some sort of cubes, slices, right? I'm slicing them into some sort of square shapes or rectangle shapes, I can say that. So this is how I'm actually cutting. So I'm just bringing it closer for you to see how I'm cutting the slices and the thickness, okay? Right, so once you cut all your beef, okay, you turn it into a bowl, and then we're going to start to add our spices, right? So here I've got some oil. You can use any oil of your choice, okay? So some oil, and then I have some black pepper, right? I'm adding some ground rosemary, paprika, and then oregano. I'm going to add that. Some chili flakes, okay? I'm adding some salt, soy sauce, cornstarch or corn flour, and then I'll grate some fresh ginger and then fresh garlic to this mixture, okay? So just so that you are clear, you can use any spices you want for your beef, okay? You don't have to use this. If you have all the ingredients that I have mentioned, fine. If you don't, use what you have. Don't stress that, sorry, I don't have this ingredient, so because of that, I can't make this recipe. Use whatever spices you have and it will work. Oh, trust me, it will definitely work. Okay, so you leave your beef in for about 30 minutes in the fridge. An hour, the longer the better. Okay, so minimum 30 minutes, but the longer the better, right? So after that, you bring it out and you start to pan fry. So this is how you're going to be searing it in your pan. Okay, you sear it in your pan, very hot frying pan, wok, whatever you have available. Even if it's just normal silver pan, fry it in it. It will still work. Okay, and then once you realize that both sides are brown, okay, so you turn each side, and then when they are nicely browned, as you see, you take it out of your pan and you set it aside. So the next element of our dish is plantain. So you get some ripe plantain and you fry it very nicely and you set it aside. When the time comes, we'll use this. So fry it and set it aside, right? So in your saucepan, you add some oil, a little bit of oil, and then you cut your onions. So just notice how I've cut my onions. It's not your regular way of cutting onion, slicing. This is a bit of like chunky kind of it. I've added my chili powder, okay, or chili flakes, and we're using our all-purpose tomato base, okay? I told you that 2024, we are changing the way we're cooking. Very quick cooking. I tell you, this recipe should have taken longer. It took me less than an hour to prepare both the stew and the rice. I'm not going to show the rice in this video. I'll show it another video, right? But it was just very quick because most of the work was already done. Okay, so I just added my green beans, and here I'm adding some vegetable bouillon, some curry powder, because we don't have any spices in the tomato base or the stew, right? But be sure to add just a little bit of spices, because don't forget that the spices that we added to our beef is going to feature here, because we are going to be pouring our beef here. So if it's too much, it will overpower everything and your stew will not taste nice, right? So you add your carrots and then you introduce your beef. This is a very, very high quality, delicious dish. Hey, Samira, what have you? So once you add your beef, let it simmer for a few minutes, like 5 to 8 minutes at most on low heat, right? Or maybe 10 minutes on low heat, right? And then you introduce your sweet element, your sweetest element. Okay, let me say that. Your plantain, you add that to your stew and then you give it a stir. Trust me, this stew is very, very delicious. Too delicious. I'm just adding some onions, okay, to give it a bit of a crunch in this recipe, right? Red peppers as well, just some color to just complete everything. This recipe, as I said, is amazing. Oh, it's really, really good. So you may not be able to finish eating all of it the same day because of how I'm adding nutmeg to complete it. It is nutmeg that completes it. Please, it's optional. My favorite thing in this world is nutmeg. It is very optional, so don't worry about that. Okay. So yes, that is it. Done. Your stew is ready, and you serve it with rice. You can serve it with anything you want. You can pop a little bit on your jollof rice. If your jollof rice is not really nice, this will change it for you. Okay. This is really, really good. So I hope you give it a try. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.